the James Bond films have made household names out of actors playing Agent 007, except for one.
George Lazenby, used car manager.
It's a fun fact in case you didn't know. More people have walked the moon than have played the role of James Bond in a movie. It's a very limited, prestigious group of men. And today the world mourns the loss of Sir Roger Moore. He, of course, was our third James Bond and the first of our James Bonds to pass away. But James Bond is one of the most iconic, beloved film characters of all time. And though his legacy seems to be almost everlasting, the men and women who have helped to bring him to life over the years are not. So today, while we mourn the loss of Roger Moore, we do also celebrate the legacy that he left behind, in addition to the legacy of James Bond. And I watched a film last night that helps celebrate the legacy of one of those men, George Lazenby, whose name probably doesn't jump to mind when you think of James Bond, quite like Roger Moore or Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan or even Daniel Craig, who's the current Bond, at least up to right now. We'll see about the next film. But Lazenby's story is explored in a small Hulu documentary called Becoming Bond. Of course, it has Bond in the title, but this is really George Lazenby's story. And it's a very intriguing one. From his beginning as an Australian car salesman to becoming one of London's top models, and then, of course, ultimately becoming James Bond. Now, Lazenby notoriously turned down a $1 million signing bonus for a 6-picture deal after his initial film. It's a business decision that has been mocked for decades. But in this film, you really get a sense as to the person behind making that decision and why he would do that. And you see just how original this guy is and the things he does to put himself out there. It's a really fascinating character study. And James Bond almost seems to be almost just like a side product of his story. We get some really well done reenactments here with really strong acting, production design, and they really hit home the story points as Lazenby himself is narrating during the interview that he's having throughout this film. Though I do wish they had carried those reenactments out more towards the end. They start to rely more on pictures of George Lazenby. I got really invested into this reenactment. I would have liked to see more of a solid conclusion to that, but the story itself is really fascinating. At the beginning of the documentary, the filmmakers ask Lazenby if his story is a good story, if it's full of humor, if it's full of romance, if it's full of sex, if it's full of drama. Yes, this film is all of those things. It's funny, it's heartfelt, and about an hour and a half runtime. It doesn't feel like it. I give Becoming Bond an A-. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you liked this review, click the thumbs up for me, and then subscribe. You can see all my other reviews there. I do Blu-ray unboxings, trailer reactions. You can also find links in the description below to all my social medias, including my podcast that I do, Port of Dorks. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, I'll see you on another episode of Movie Minute.